All right, good morning, trade pros. Welcome to morning market update for this beautiful Wednesday, January the 8th. So I want to make sure my hair is good. You know, the cameras are rolling, so I just had to check. I hope you guys had a great day. What an evening move indeed, Lee. I don't know if I'd call it crazy. We've definitely seen crazier, but it was a big move, nonetheless. What was your P&L, Angela? All right, let's jump into this. So first and foremost, the news overnight was that around 6:30 p.m. yesterday, Iran actually targeted a base in the United States and sent over a dozen missiles its way at a U.S. base located in Iraq. All right, so 13 missiles were fired. The market freaked out and dumped from around 32 on the S&P down to 81. I was long a couple contracts, but I had a stop loss really tight because it just felt odd and off. And so I wasn't going to hold it into the Globex. So I actually dumped it before the Globex close, which is 6 p.m. is the reopen. The close at 5 p.m. And I overcovered my long position. So I actually ended up being one short and made some accidental profit to the downside. Sometimes you get lucky. All right. It's still not a good thing. It's still a bad grade on execution, but it's a good grade on profit. So it worked out relatively well. I fluked it. That's how we start the year. Guess what? It happens to everyone, myself included. That was a keying error. But Dow was down almost 400 points. S&P dropped 50 handles off this news that there were 13 missiles. The big question was, are there any casualties? And if so, are there any United States casualties? Because you know that that's going to elicit the strongest response from the Trump administration. All right. Gold spiked. The U.S. dollar spiked. Equities dumped. The low print was around 7:53 p.m. And then around that time, there's news circulating that there weren't any U.S. casualties, and that out of the 13 options that Iran took, this was probably one of the least aggressive ones. And then just like Donald Trump surprised Iran with the elimination of their commander, all right, Iran surprised back, taking one of the softer options of the 13 that they had planned. So here's a question that the markets are wondering this morning. First of all, is there going to be a retaliation or response? All right. And more importantly, if it ends here, I think it ends for the short term at least. All right. Tensions between Iran and the United States obviously have been escalating since the 80s, since the downed airliner by the Navy. But, anyways, that's the whole previous thing. So the question here is now, how does the United States respond to this? And more importantly, is this just a warning shot, or is this the main action? Because if it's the main action, the S&P could shrug this event off and keep going up. For the most part, there weren't any casualties. There were one, all right, the general in Iran, actually two, the company that he was with in Iraq. But if that's it, then that's it. Markets will probably shrug this event off and keep going. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think there's going to be some more escalation. Donald Trump this morning at 7 confirmed it, his administration, that not himself personally, but his administration, that there's no casualties of the U.S. in the strike. All right. Pentagon said that Iran intentionally missed the U.S. troops' targeted bases overnight. They sent the rockets, but they weren't targeting for destruction. So the question is, this preemptive strike, is there more to come, or is this how it's going to end? I don't think getting your general eliminated and sending 13 missiles to intentionally miss the base is going to be the totality of a reaction or retaliation. So, I don't want it to be the case, but unfortunately, I think there's more tension coming down the pipeline. I don't see this as being resolved this quickly. I hope that it does, for the sake of everyone, because I hate tragedy and violence. It's such a low vibrational frequency, and I try to stay high vibe. It's a shame. All right, it's a shame if it does continue, but I'm not sure it's over. If it is over, equity markets continue upward, and right now we're just awaiting a reaction. We're up 60 handles off the lows, so in fact, we're higher. We're trading higher in this equity market than before the bombing occurred. So it's pretty impressive. Oil prices have gone absolutely bonkers. The high print of oil overnight was 65.65. We're currently trading all the way down on 62.05. So, and we were down as low as 61.31. So almost down 4 handles. All right. Actually, it is down 4 handles and 30 cents. So oil, on the increased tension and the escalation of this potential threat of war, obviously went up because there could be supply disruptions. Now that the threat is off, and they said, is this all Iran's going to do? If this is the case, then it's not pretty bad. It's not bad at all. There's no casualties. Nothing happened. In fact, Iran lost their general, and they lost probably a couple $1 million of firing those rockets to miss. So if this is how it ends, this is how it ends. But oil right now is giving off some of its gains because there isn't as much perceived danger. Now, if Donald Trump this morning has his address, he's planning to speak. I think it's going to be at 10 a.m. Last I checked with the trading news portal, and he says there's going to be a retaliation. Then you can expect the market to go down a lot more. If you think this price action's crazy, you ain't seen nothing yet. You probably haven't traded a downside recession, or you haven't seen a market crash. A lot of traders in today's environment haven't seen a market crash. They don't remember what volatility is like during war scenarios or volatility during just huge risk off scenarios. So, as wild ride as this seemed, it could be just a start. Be careful, manage your risk, trade like a trade pro out there. In other news, the 737 crash in Iran, another airplane from Boeing. Boeing's probably going to suffer some downside as a result of this. It was operated by Ukraine and International Airlines. The timing of this is very odd. It crashed minutes after takeoff, killing all 167 people on board. RIP to them. Sending love, joy, happiness, healing energy to the families who suffered the loss. It's tragic. Ukraine's embassy said that it could be an engine failure. Turbines are operated by CFM International. They're a big producer for or big supplier for engine components to Boeing and other big airlines as well, or airplane manufacturers. The 737 is a predecessor to 737 MAX. It's not the same one that's grounded. Obviously, those aren't flying yet. But Boeing's under the microscope once again. I expect to see a little bit of downside, which could push or put some downside pressure on the Dow. If you look at the Dow Jones this morning, it's actually underperforming other equity indices, and it's probably weighed down by the fact Boeing shareholders are not going to like that. Yesterday, news came out that Warren Buffett bought $5 billion worth of shares in the market yesterday. It's complete nonsense. You just need to have a little bit of education to dispel those kind of rumors. There weren't even $5 billion worth of shares traded. So he couldn't have done it in one day. And he wouldn't do it in one day. It's absolutely ridiculous to think somebody's going to put a $5 billion order on the market in one day. It's nuts. Right? Those people go to institutions work them for them. The iceberg amount, they do different approaches. He could be buying though, I don't know, but it didn't happen yesterday, like one outlet reported. But there is rumors circulating Warren Buffett's trying to load up on Boeing. It would make sense. That's why it's a believable rumor in some aspect. But another, it's not confirmed, and it didn't happen yesterday. All right. In other news, there's no other news. Today's markets, Asia's down, Japan's down 1.6, Hong Kong's down 0.8%, China down 1.2, India down 1/10. In Europe at midday, London's down 0.5%, Paris the same, Frankfurt down 0.7. Futures flat in the U.S., Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ pretty much a couple points off or above their prior day closes. If you look at this chart where we open versus yesterday's close, you almost miss the fact that it's down 50, up 65. All right, that's where we're at. This morning, crude oil is more or less off of its prior day close at 62.67. Huge volatility overnight in crude. Bitcoin's up 5.7% to low 8,000s. All right, 8:15, we had the ADP jobs report. That came out at 202,000 jobs added for the month of December in the private sector versus 160 expected. And that's a really strong number. It's a good beat. And the prior was revised up to 124 from 60,000 for the month of November. So that's a good jobs report. 10 a.m. Fed's Brainerd speaking. 10:30 today, we got crude oil inventories. There's going to be a ton of volatility. Today's an exciting day. 10:30, the crude market gives you enough predictable and actionable volatility to make your entire weekly income in 1 hour of one day. All right. If there's one time I had to trade for the week and that's it, I would do it 10:30 on Wednesdays. And if I scaled up, who knows, maybe I'd get away with it. And would never have to trade other than Wednesdays. But this is the time you got to be a part of a community. Join us, check it out in the trading room. We're going to trade this thing together. You'll find out why it's such a high opportunity event. I think today is going to be even more high opportunity given all the up and downside action from these tensions out of the Middle East. All right, 1 p.m. results of a 24 billion 10-year note auction, 3 p.m. consumer credit. So what you got on the calendar this morning. At some point, Donald Trump's going to speak. Yesterday, there was also news that China isn't 100% ready to sign the deal. Donald Trump's promised a signature on January 15th. China says they have no idea about this, but they do plan to travel from the 13th to the 15th. So do they not have any idea about it? I think they just feel like, look at us. You guys remember us? We used to be in the headlines every day. It's funny how things could change quickly. All right. Wait, or not wait, but expect a Donald Trump speech here or something or commentary this morning. Listen to the news wires, and it's going to have some impact on the markets. Huge amount of volume traded already, though. All right, markets. It's only 9:10 in the morning, and the S&P 500 traded 860,000 contracts. That's good size volume for this time of day. It usually takes a early afternoon to get there. Some days we don't get there. In the summer, there's 300,000 contract days. All right. See some of the questions. I watched the price action. Never seen anything like that before. Oh, we'll get used to it, brother. You'll see a lot of those in your career. It was volatile. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's how the market moves. When sudden big impact news comes out, market rushes to price it in. There's a lot of volatility. Nah, Jenny, war is not a good thing. Don't say that. That's absolutely a terrible thing to say. It's a good thing until you're the one in your family who the bombs are flying at, and then it becomes really bad, doesn't it? I know. It's really interesting here, Vidmantis. No known casualties after Iran fired ballistic missile U.S. forces in Iraq. In 12 hours, nobody checked surroundings. Um, Look, I don't think the intention was to have casualties. I think the intention from Iran was to, hey, there's a pressure on us to respond from our people who are elected the government, right? So we have to give some kind of response. But this might just be one little thing. Shoot, you never know how discussion went. It could have been, this is what we're going to do. Here's a grand plan. Or it could have been, let's just send 13 rockets. Let's miss the bases. Let's get the market or the people off our back, and let's plan a real response. We don't know, right? And that's why markets move. If we knew what was going to happen, the market wouldn't move. It would all price everything in, and it wouldn't move. Okay? So it's a good thing we don't know what's going to happen. So let's take that like surprise and shock and turn it into energy to convert money out of this opportunity in the market. All right. It's my outlook. Love you guys on YouTube. Take care. Have a fantastic rest of your days, and be safe out there. Manage your risk. TRADEPRO. We got to open up the room, and that starts with our good friend Steven out of Atlanta to talk about oil for us. Take care, YouTube. Hope you enjoyed today's update. Peace out. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao. Doing well, brother, man. Yourself?